Right now at 5, a teen is involved in a serious crash near Carl Junction.
And winds are already picking up. Temperatures are very cold out there and will continue to be that way. We'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, Missouri and Kansas are preparing for winter weather this weekend.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now a Friday, not December. It's going to be like December almost. It's January, January 23rd.
You know, I stood there for how long wishing that it would feel like winter. I'm so sorry, guys.
It's her fault.
I'm so sorry.
She was the one every time. She's like, well, if it's going to be this.
Well, I wish it would feel like Christmas.
It needs to snow. It's going to be so cold.
I'm sorry.
You know what? Now it's happened. These lights are out. It's that pirate strip down there if you want to step on that. We're going to get these lights working here. And then we are going to talk about your forecast. That didn't do it. Anyway, let's take a live look outside real quick this morning. We do have a lot to get through that we need to break down for you. Right now, very breezy. We've been watching this camera shaking every so often. I mean, those winds are picking up. I don't know about anybody else. If you haven't been up yet or haven't been into like an exterior room of your house, you can hear that wind. You can hear it in this building. It is really ramping up with those gusts already over 30 miles an hour. Westco camera 7th in range line looking good so far. And in about 24 hours, it's going to look a lot different. So we've got a pretty high impact from everything except ice. That's the one thing we're not worried about. Snow, the extreme cold, the wind, all a major impact as we head into this weekend. Winter storm warnings again for everybody now, and it didn't take long for these to spread. They are for everyone across the region. In fact, these winter storm warnings meant they stretch a vast portion of the nation at this point. And we also have cold weather advisories and extreme cold warnings because those wind chills are going to be anywhere from 15 to 20 degrees, or 10 to 20 degrees below zero. Quick look at our temperatures now. 24 Joplin, 23 Pittsburgh. It's going to be one of those days, too, where technically some of you probably have hit highs in the upper 20s to maybe about 30. Our daytime temperatures are going to be cooler than this. So see, like Jay right now, you're at 30 degrees. It's probably going to end up being your official high for today, but daytime highs today only into the low 20s. These temperatures will begin to fall back. These winds ramping up. We've got wind chills already into the single digits in our northern counties. Teens outside of that feels like 4 in Iola, 6 Stockton and Yates Center. So again, a very cold start to the day. Now, kids probably still obviously going to school. Like we're not expecting snow until late tonight. And if you didn't get your grocery shopping done yesterday, you can still do so today. It's just going to be very windy, very cold. Once we get to about 10 o'clock or so, snow begins working in from west to east, and it will rapidly pick up in intensity in terms of how heavy it's coming down as we go overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And then you take heavy snow, mix it in with 30, 35 mile an hour wind gusts, and we're talking the potential for blowing snow, which could lead to reduced visibilities, which is going to be another concern as we go through the weekend. All right, so, and I also going to throw it out now. I already told my kids this. It's not a guarantee, but I'm pretty confident you're not going back to school on Monday, and depending on certain locations, rural areas, and how much snow we get, some of you may be out for a few extra days next week as well. We're talking a fair amount of snow here. 21 kids out the door, 23 by lunch and recess, and only in 22 as temperatures begin to fall back as they head home. That's what I'm saying. So we had technical highs about 30. Temperatures warm a bit back up into the low to mid 20s by noon, and then they'll start falling back again overnight tonight. And I did not change the wind. It'll be northeast breeze gusting upwards of 30 to 35 miles an hour. We're going to break down the timing on this storm system. We're going to break down snow totals, what we're looking at, and how things could still potentially change into the weekend here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. A teen driver was involved in a serious crash near Carl Junction yesterday evening. The 16-year-old driver was traveling on Fur Road when his car went off the right side, overturning through a fence and ejecting him 30 feet into a field. The teen was rushed to a nearby hospital with moderate injuries. Missouri State Highway Patrol says the driver was not wearing a seatbelt. Another rollover crash took place yesterday afternoon near Sarcoxie, Missouri. A pickup and dump trailer went off the road, through a cable barrier, and overturned near the outer road. The driver was not injured, and troopers at the scene highlighted the importance of wearing your seatbelt. Officials are still investigating the second vehicle involved. The two did not make contact, but the pickup was possibly cut off, causing his loaded trailer to become unstable and forcing him off the road. As the four-state area prepares for its first major snowfall of the winter season, the Missouri Department of Transportation started planning earlier this week, readying equipment and coordinating between districts. Cold temperatures make pre-treating roads more challenging. The dry, powdery snow combined with cold pavement creates dangerous conditions when salt melts snow into liquid that refreezes on the road surface. Missouri agencies and forecasters joined for a briefing yesterday ahead of this weekend's winter storm as dangerous conditions threaten the four states. Multiple agencies are coordinating their response. Transportation officials and the Missouri State Highway Patrol outlined several safety measures. Captain Scott White said one thing he wants the public to take away is that this storm has the potential to be life-threatening if people are not prepared.
What people do beforehand is really going to matter. That means checking your tires, your fuel levels, make sure your car is good to go. Make sure that you keep a winter survival kit in the car with blankets, water, food, and a phone charger. That's very important. That's probably one of the best tools that people can have out there.
A representative from the National Weather Service also attended. She says significant impacts to life are expected across southern Missouri south of I-70, with uncertainty about how far north those impacts will extend. From the plains to the East Coast, the threat of a dangerous winter weekend storm is causing natural gas prices to skyrocket. Contracts for near-term U.S. natural gas futures jumped more than 70% so far this week. That's according to data from FactSet. Bloomberg says the increase means natural gas is tracking to see its biggest weekly jump since 1990. The extreme cold is not only driving up demand, but could disrupt gas flow through pipelines and deplete stockpiles. The demand could also derail production at key hubs across the country. As winter weather approaches northeast Oklahoma, residents aren't waiting until the last minute to prepare. From stocking up on firewood to loading up on rock salt, folks are getting ready now before the storm hits. Chloe Abbott shows us how Tulsans are beating the rush to stay warm and safe.
Rickards Landscaping and Tree Service in Owasso has been busy this week with people coming in to load up their trucks.
Getting wood. I want to keep my house warm.
Paul is not the only one getting ready for the winter weather early.
I would hate to be out here in snow, in slush, trying to get a rick of firewood loaded. So it's best to be prepared now so that when the weather hits, you don't have to come do it when it's so cold.
Todd Rickert says people have been coming in nonstop to pick up wood, and he expects even more people to come to the yard in the next few days.
We'll actually have a line of cars backed up down here waiting to bite out of this pile. You'll see cars, you'll see U-Haul trailers, you'll see U-Haul trucks, you'll see on occasion a random boat or something that somebody will fill up with firewood.
Both Paul and Joey say they have their firewood and a full pantry so they can stay home if the roads get too bad. A man at Ace Hardware was stocking up on salt now after learning his lesson.
A couple years ago when it was really bad, I think it was about 20 below zero, and literally our driveway's like this, and we weren't able to get up and down, and so I had to go out and dig for about 3 or 4 hours because I hadn't gotten the rock salt.
Rex says he went to the store today because salt sells out fast.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The president meets with a key wartime leader at an international summit. But later, healthcare takes flight in the four states. We'll look at the new drone program to get medications and supplies where they're needed. And winter storm approaching across the four states. Chris has a look at your weekend forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, President Trump began his trip to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, focused on acquiring Greenland. The president wrapped up his trip today, engaged in trying to end two wars that have been going on for years. Erica Brown has more details from the White House.
Mr. Zelensky, why did you come to Davos today? Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met behind closed doors with President Trump at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Afterwards, Zelensky said there is still a major roadblock on the path to ending the war with Russia.
It's all about the eastern part of our country. It's all about the land.
But for the first time, Zelensky says representatives from Ukraine, Russia, and the U.S. are preparing for negotiations together.
We're meeting with Russia. That'll take place tomorrow. They're going to be meeting with President Putin. I had a very good meeting with President Zelensky. Everybody wants to have the war end.
President Trump launched his Board of Peace with a charter signing event in Davos Thursday. The board was created as part of the brokered peace deal between Israel and Hamas.
we're committed to ensuring Gaza is demilitarized, properly governed, and beautifully rebuilt. It's going to be a great plan, and that's where the border peace really started.
22 countries, including the U.S., signed the charter Thursday to join the Board of Peace with the goal of rebuilding Gaza and helping to ensure it remains demilitarized. But the president says that's only the first step.
Once this board is completely formed, we can do pretty much whatever we want to do, and we'll do it in conjunction with the United Nations.
Many European allies, including the United Kingdom, have declined the president's invitation to join for now. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
President Trump says he's extending a membership in the Board of Peace to Russian President Vladimir Putin as well. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, is scheduled to meet with Putin in Moscow tomorrow. Well, still to come, Hollywood's biggest disappointments get recognized while music's rising stars earn praise. Plus, winter storm approaching across the 4 states. Chris has a look at your Friday forecast. Award season is in full swing. Gwen Baumgarten has your Eye on Entertainment report with a look at some of this year's Razzie nominees.
The Golden Raspberry nominations are in, and Disney's live-action Snow White and sci-fi remake War of the Worlds lead with 6.
I just want to be the fairest of them all.
Each year, the Golden Raspberry Foundation votes on what they deem the worst movies of the year. Other flicks in the running for a Razzie: Star Trek Section 31 and Netflix's The Electric State. The award ceremony is in March. Nominations for the Brit Awards are also out.
And I'm too perfect.
Messy singer Lola Young is tied with fellow newcomer Olivia Dean with 5 nominations.
Need you to spell it out for me.
It feels crazy to be nominated for 5 Brit Awards. Just even one would be crazy.
Both women were also nominated for Grammys and will sing alongside the other Best New Artist nominees for a special live performance at the Grammy ceremony this year. The 68th Annual Grammy Awards airs February 1st on CBS and Paramount+. And congratulations are in order for singer-songwriter Meghan Trainor. She and her husband announced on social media this week they welcomed their 3rd child via surrogate. The couple named their daughter Mikey Moon. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
It's always seeing what are seen as some of the worst movies versus some of the best movies during this award season. Well, now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we are again tracking. We will have the latest on this incoming winter storm when we come back, break down some snow totals for you and just how cold it's going to be right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:20 now on this Friday morning. We're going to start with the Future Track and break down what we are looking at. Future Track is hinting at maybe a flurry or two this afternoon. While it's not out of the question, not very likely. The better snow chances are going to start late tonight. So that's why, again, today we're not really worried about, we don't have any concerns with schools or even folks at home or at work heading home later today because we should be fine. It's going to be very cold and very windy across the region as we head through the afternoon and evening. Once we get past about 10 o'clock or so, snow will gradually begin to work in from west to east, and overnight it will increase in intensity, and we'll start to see some heavy snow mixed in there as well. Now, like I said, you factor in the heavy snow and these gusty northeast winds, we're talking that blowing snow potential, which could lead to reduced visibilities. Now, there's something that I had never seen before, and when I first started doing the weather here on the morning show, I saw it about 3 years ago. It's what's known as a snow squall warning. We had some into northeastern Oklahoma a few years back with some heavier snow. What a snow squall is, if we get one, is it is a narrow band of very heavy snow. It's a sudden onset, just kind of happens, and it reduces visibilities in some cases to near zero and can lead to very rapid accumulations. So, with that said, you can't predict those, but if you are traveling, planning to travel, which we do not recommend this weekend, and you see an area that's got a snow squall warning, or you are in an area that has one of those, and you were, going to run to the gas station real quick, don't. Snow squalls can be very dangerous simply because of how intense, how heavy, and how sudden the snow is. Now, we go through the rest of the day Saturday into the morning hours of snow continuing. Again, some of it heavy at times. And then once we get into the mid to late afternoon, we get the first pause. We still got light snow, maybe even some moderate snow here and there heading into the afternoon and early evening hours, but the bulk of the snow does begin to briefly stop. But remember, don't let that fool you. Don't let it trick you into thinking that you're going to be all right, because you're not. The second wave will come in late Saturday, and again, it's expected to dump most of our accumulations at this point. Look to be with the second wave. Now, that's not to say we're not going to get a fair amount out of the first wave. It's just the bulk of it. Say 2/3 of it will come out of that second wave late Saturday into early Sunday. As we go through Sunday, we still start with some of that snow, which will be moderate to heavy at times. We'll still have some gusty winds, which could lead to blowing snow and reduced visibilities. Through the morning Sunday, we start to transition to some flurries, some light snow, and by the afternoon, the last batch of that begins to push out, and we should start clearing out a bit by Sunday late evening into the overnight hours. So, how much snow are we looking at? Right now, these numbers are we're pretty confident in these numbers. Could they be? Well, actually, give me just a second. These numbers have actually changed. So like I said, this gets updates every so many hours, and one of the updates just came in because when I last looked at it, it stopped Joplin, for example, at 9.3 inches. That total's gone up, but it's also reduced numbers across southeast Kansas. We had 9-inch totals up out there. So these numbers, though, were pretty close to the event. We're still getting some pretty good confidence. Could they change? Obviously, they can change a bit. But National Weather Service in Springfield, with their winter storm warning, specifically said, now remember, their region that they cover is all through here and back into south central Missouri. They were saying anywhere from 7 to 14 inches. And honestly, this new data here is starting to jive with that. So it's a very serious situation. Folks have lived here long enough, 6 inches of snow is enough to cause some serious travel disruptions. We're talking most of us receiving more than that across the area. So we need to be cautious. You need to make sure you're prepared now because you do not want to be out on the roads this weekend or really even into the start of next week. Again, those winter storm warnings, so at least Sunday afternoon, cold weather advisories, extreme cold warnings because those wind chills are going to be down 10 to 20 degrees below zero through the weekend as well. So this morning, again, kind of hovering right around the low 20s, cloudy skies, breezy out there. We'll have daytime highs in the low to mid 20s and then temperatures begin to drop single digits tonight and tomorrow, only into the teens Saturday and Sunday. We have those alert days in place. Possible alert day for Monday simply because, look at this low Sunday night, 4 below. Now, the winds should ease up a bit Sunday night into Monday, but at 4 below, even a light breeze is going to bring those wind chills way down. That also said, look at these temperatures into the start of next week. Any snow we get, it's not going to melt on its own, and road crews are going to be extraordinarily busy this weekend, which is another reason we don't want you on the roads because they've got to have time to clear them. With that said, it's almost a guarantee. I think nearly everyone will probably not have school come Monday. I'd say in some locations, especially rural areas, Tuesday, maybe even into Wednesday, depending on how quickly road crews can work. And you've got to give them space to do what they need to do so that we can try and get back to work and school sometime next week. Thing is, temperatures expected to drop again by the end of next week with some additional light snow chances out there. So a lot to keep an eye on, but the big story, of course, this winter storm into the weekend. So just make sure you are ready now for the potential of being kind of stuck at home for the next several days. That is a check of your forecast. We're going to send it over to Samantha now with Health Watch.
Thanks, Chris. A drone demonstration at MSSU gives a glimpse of some new medical tech coming to the area. The new Joplin Healthcare Drone Project will deliver medications and medical supplies to rural communities across the 4-state region and aims to reduce travel time for patients. It's a project by Joplin Regional Alliance for Health and Valkyrie UAS Solutions. Ever feel like someone's listening and it might just be your dog? Scientists found some pups are picking up new skills by eavesdropping. Experts say the new insight gives a better understanding of how the brain works. CBS's Tina Cross has the story from London.
Okay, pull. Dogs spend their lives surrounded by people talking, and new research shows some pups are tuning in to every word.
Can be in another room talking, and the dog will come in, knows I'm talking about him.
My dog knows way more English than you'd expect.
European scientists found super smart canines can pick up new words from eavesdropping on conversations, similar to skills toddlers develop around 18 months.
But this is the first time that we see a specific group of dogs that are really able to learn specific labels from overhearing interactions.
I think he's cute.
To test it, researchers asked owners to talk about a new toy with someone else without interacting with their dog.
It has armadillo ears, little armadillo feet.
After several minutes of conversation, they watched what the dog had learned.
Basket, go get armadillo.
The pups ran into a room full of toys and correctly retrieved the ones they'd overheard about 90% of the time.
Yes, good girl, yes.
In another experiment, owners showed a new toy to their dog, then put it inside a bucket, but only named it while it was out of sight.
That's leopard.
Nearly 80% of pets fetched the right one.
Animals have a lot more going on cognitively than maybe you think they do.
So the next time your pup reacts a little too perfectly, remember, they're all ears. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Scientists say not every pup has those eavesdropping skills. They tested about 40 clever canines known as gifted word learner dogs. These latest findings are published in the journal Science. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, a Wilson County teacher with a timeless love of education marks a milestone birthday.
And we are tracking our winter storm and dangerous cold from today heading into this weekend. To look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, the Neosho Police Department relaunches a program to help residents protect their homes.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:31. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Friday, January the 22nd. Our winter storm is arriving. I guess the first part of it's technically here. The gusty winds and the bitterly cold temperatures already settling in out there.
Already cold, and I know you've warned me it's just going to get worse.
Yes.
And I'm not excited for it.
No, I don't think anybody is. And, we've talked about this for a while. And like I said, we can't emphasize it stress enough. If there's something you need to do to get ready for this weekend, to be stuck at home, maybe be beyond this weekend, now's your time. We urged you to do it yesterday when it was still pretty decent out. It's going to be dry today. The majority of the day we're fine. But it's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. But if there's anything else you need to do to prepare, now is your time to do that, because you may be stuck at home for a little while as the snow starts to settle into the weekend. Let's start with a quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. And again, with the gusty winds, that camera's been shaking every so often. The wind gusts are exceeding 30 miles an hour. We're up to about 35 in some cases, which is going to make it feel even colder. And to give you an idea as to the expanse of the system, and if I can get a graphic for it here a little later, I will, but there are winter storm warnings stretching from western Pennsylvania down into central New Mexico. All right, this is a massive system with these winter storm warnings. Virtually the entire state of Arkansas, most of Missouri, all of Kentucky, most of Tennessee, most of Kansas, most of Texas, majority of Oklahoma, and a good portion of New Mexico, all under winter storm warnings heading into this weekend. Our Wesco Camera 7th and range line looking good so far. Clouds are going to begin to thicken up out there. Our impacts, ice is really about the only thing we're not worried about. Snow, cold, wind, all of those are at high levels as we head through this upcoming weekend. Winter storm warnings continuing through again at least Sunday afternoon with 5 different offices. They're all going to have some varying expiration times, and some of it's going to be based on snow will come to an end from west to east, so some of them will expire a little earlier out west than the ones to the east, just as that snow begins to wind down through the weekend. Additionally, we have the cold weather advisories and extreme cold warnings. That is because our wind chills through the weekend are going to be upwards of 10 to 20 degrees below zero. We're not just talking dangerous cold. For those outside, we're talking life-threatening cold. I know there will be some warming centers open. If you can stay indoors or out of the outside here, that's what you need to do as we head through this weekend, because we're talking dangerously cold temperatures here. We're at 24 in Joplin, 21 in Pittsburgh right now. Some of us, like Jay, for example, these are your highs for today. So Jay, 30. So on a technical basis, you've hit a high of about 30 or so. The temperatures are going to hang out in the low 20s, which is where most of us are sitting now, in the low to mid 20s, and then they'll gradually drop as we head into the afternoon. Wind chills with those winds already gusting this morning feels like 4 in Fort Scott, 5 Yates Center, Iola, Nevada, Stockton. So a number of single-digit wind chills and teens out there. So even Down south, Grove, you're 28 or so, but your wind chill is 10 degrees colder at 18. Now, into the future track. After 10 o'clock, that's when we're going to start to see snow increase again from west to east. And we're stopping at 2 a.m. simply because after midnight is when we're going to start to see us really get to its peak intensity here. So we're talking some heavy snow, gusty northeast winds could lead to some blowing snow overnight and into Saturday, which could lead to reduced visibilities in some cases. So you've got, that's why really, you got to be careful is the phrase we typically use. In all honesty, you've got to stay home this weekend. Stay off the roads, stay home. Kids, you've got school today. Next week, probably not on Monday, and depending on how much snow you get and how much your road crews are able to get done, some of you may not have school for a few days next week. But for today, bundle up. 21 out the door, 23 for lunch and recess, 22 when you head home. And of course, with those gusty winds, those wind chills are going to be about 0 to 5 above throughout the day. Highs, again, daytime highs in the low 20s, temperatures falling later. Northeast winds gusting to 35 across the region. We're going to talk more about the snow totals and how long this thing's going to last and what we are expecting next week, which is not much better, at least in terms of temperatures. We'll break it all down for you here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. Decade after decade, generation after generation, one teacher at Altoona Midway Middle School and High School continues to bring his love for teaching science to the classroom every day. KOAM's Kenny Foreman introduces us to 94-year-old Robert Pierce.
67 years ago, Robert Pierce was just a guy with a degree in agriculture and animal science from Oklahoma State. Wanting a different type of career, he applied for a teaching job at a school in West Texas, despite lacking the proper preparation.
The superintendent of that school hired me. I had no teaching experience, no teaching education at all, and he hired me based upon he knew that I had the qualifications to teach chemistry and biology.
After a few more stops throughout Kansas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas, Pierce has called Altoona Midway home for the past 27 years, where he currently teaches several courses such as chemistry, physics, physical science, as well as a gardening horticulture class where he utilizes a greenhouse.
If I tell them how to do it, it sort of goes in one ear and out the other. They do not learn it, but they're going to get it out there. They have to plant the seeds, they'll have to transplant seeds, they have to multiply the plants.
He says he's always curious to learn more about his students, their interests, and the most recent trends. It helps him in his mission to ensure that he leaves a positive impact.
They're getting enough harshness in life without me adding to it. And if I can be friendly with them, I feel like that will help them when they get out of school to be friendly with other people.
Even at his age, Mr. Pierce has never seriously considered retirement, with his love for his students making it all the more harder to envision doing anything else.
I feel perfect just because of my age. I don't get around very well, but I feel fine. My brain's working well. And as long as I can get out of bed, get dressed by myself, drive my car here, I'm going to stay here as long as I can.
In Wilson County, Kenny Foreman, KOAM News.
Pierce is thankful for the support Altoona Midway continues to show him and anticipates being able to teach there at least 3 more years. Well, the Neosho Police Department launches a home reassurance program, reviving a free service unused for about 20 years. Residents who sign up receive daily exterior home checks by patrol officers during their absence. To enroll, proof of Neosho residencies such as a utility bill and emergency contact information are required. Each sign-up lasts 30 days with the option to renew.
Something that we're bringing back because we want to reconnect with our citizens and provide a service to our citizens that's meaningful and provides them reassurance when they're away from their homes.
The program is designed to provide peace of mind by promptly alerting homeowners of any suspicious activity or damage. Well, for more than 4 decades, Souls Harbor has served Joplin as a homeless shelter and resource center. It's an organization that relies on the kindness of people to give those in need a hand up. KOAM's Ty Parks reports in this week's Doing Good.
For 43 years, Souls Harbor has been a light to those who are in need of help, primarily as a homeless shelter.
So we have some beds that are for emergency use, which are a 90-day stay.
people come in and they spend the first 30 days finding a job. And then after they find a job, then they have another additional 60 days to help get their monies together and help them find a place to live.
They have found that since doing the one-year housing, that more people are breaking what they are called the curse of homelessness.
An outreach for the Lord to just reach people where they are, to give them an extra hand, to give them a hand up. So give them some hope.
An outreach that also extends to giving out free items from food to clothes.
So when people need assistance with, their food supply for the month, they can come by here. And then we also have a free store where you can get free clothing or household items or any kind of furniture that you might need if we happen to have it.
Souls Harbor relies on community donations to stock its free store, creating a cycle of local support.
Help one another. Help one another so that we can all survive.
In Joplin, Ty Parks, KOAM News.
Souls Harbor is always looking for donated items for their free store and monetary donations. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A new ranking of the nation's top workplaces is out with some surprising results. In Consumer Watch, the Pittsburgh Public Library is helping older adults build confidence with technology through a state-funded grant. The program supports adults age 55 and older by teaching basic technology skills and raising awareness about common risks, including online scams, especially on social media and online marketplaces. It's not just about learning the technology, it's also about trusting instincts. JobSite Glassdoor is out with its list of the 100 best places to work in 2026. Taking the #1 spot is the Indianapolis-based family-owned Crew Car Wash. The In-N-Out burger chain moved to the #2 spot on the list, which is based on employee reviews. NVIDIA came in third. Glassdoor says the AI chip maker earns high marks for its transparent leadership and open communication. That's it for Consumer Watch, and now here's Chris with a quick look at the forecast.
We've already got the very gusty winds out there, making it feel much colder. You've got dangerous cold into the weekend and our winter storm right on the horizon. We're going to break it all down for you when the KOAM Morning News returns.
In Consumer Watch, the Pittsburgh Public Library is helping older adults build confidence with technology through a state-funded grant. The program supports adults age 55 and older by teaching basic technology skills and raising awareness about common risks, including online scams, especially on social media and online marketplaces. It's not just about learning the technology, it's also about trusting instincts. JobSite Glassdoor is out with its list of the 100 best places to work in 2026. Taking the #1 spot is the Indianapolis-based family-owned Crew Car Wash. The In-N-Out burger chain moved to the #2 spot on the list, which is based on employee reviews. NVIDIA came in third. Glassdoor says the AI chip maker earns high marks for its transparent leadership and open communication. That's it for Consumer Watch, and now here's Chris with a quick look at the forecast.
We've already got the very gusty winds out there, making it feel much colder. You've got dangerous cold into the weekend and our winter storm right on the horizon. We're going to break it all down for you when the KOAM Morning News returns.
In 1977, Ford F-Series became America's best-selling trucks, and we've kept that title every year since. Ford, the most awarded brand for initial quality among trucks by J.D. Power.
Is it time to design that new focal point of your living space that you've been dreaming of? Now's the time to come into the Fireplace Shop, where our certified, experienced designers will create the fireplace of your dreams. The Fireplace Shop is the fireplace crew to trust. 2120 East 7th Street, Joplin.
At Freeman Health System, your health is our purpose. Every moment matters, because behind every diagnosis, every treatment is a person. We're here to listen, to heal, and to grow. Constantly improving, investing in technology, and finding better ways to care, because your life deserves our best. Freeman Health System. Every moment, every patient, every day.
It's a new location for the Albers Marine Southeast Kansas 20th Annual Boat and Outdoor Show at Camptown Event Center north of Frontenac, Friday and Saturday, January 23rd and 24th. See the latest Tracker and Nitro boats, Mercury motors, guns, archery, tractors, mowers, and more. Learn from Bassmaster Hall of Famer Rick Klun, MLF Pro Edwin Evers, and duck hunter Roy Carter. Plenty of vendors, food, and fun for the entire family, including kids archery, BB range, and casting. This free event is hosted at the new Camptown Event Center by Albers Marine, your authorized Tracker boat and Mercury motor dealer.
If you're thinking about retirement, you're asking yourself a lot of questions. Have I saved enough money? What about taxes, inflation, and health care? Barry Watts of the Wealth Care Corporation has the strategies you need to help plan your retirement. Don't miss Watts on Wealth with Barry Watts.
Monday at 7, watch the Joplin Eagles Kickapoo Chiefs girls basketball game live and free on KOAM+. Jet HD TV brings you the action on KOAMNewsNow.com, the KOAM News app, or your connected TV, powered by Missouri Southern State University.
Today's Ag Minute is brought to you by Eubanks Equipment.
A big winter storm is on the way and ranchers are getting ready. Details in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. A severe winter storm is forecast to hit half the country, including several areas that are home to the U.S. cattle population. In the south, cattle are not accustomed to this type of extreme conditions being forecast, and there is concern about hypothermia hitting newborn calves in wet and cold weather. Ranchers in areas such as Oklahoma will be spending the next several days out working to warm up those calves by getting them off the cold ground, drying them off, and trying to get them to warm, dry areas. Spice maker McCormick is forecasting a weak profit for this year, attributing it to higher costs from tariffs and commodities squeezing margins. The company says it expects an incremental cost impact from tariffs of about $50 million this year. It said it imports some spices such as pepper as well as herbs. Crews in western Michigan were called out on reports of an overturned semi. When they got there, they found no one was injured. But when they opened the rear of the semi, they discovered 40,000 pounds of pinto beans in plastic tote bags. They knew then that clearing this up would be a big operation, but they got some help from a local farmer who provided a tractor, vacuum, and hoses in order to move the beans to a trailer. Now, Michigan is a key grower of pinto beans, but North Dakota is the top grower in the U.S. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays at the station or get updates over at agweb.com.
Now let's take it over to Chris with a look at your forecast.
And I know many of you probably don't want to hear about it, but it's here and we've got to talk about it. Our winter storm rolling into the weekend. As we mentioned yesterday, the cold front that came in last night, it's already passed through. It's already cold this morning, starting everything for us. This is kind of like the first initial phase of this whole thing is the cold. Now, Future Track thinks that by noon we could have a couple of flurries. Not out of the question, but not very likely. Anything we see wouldn't really do much. It's going to be late this evening. So that's why right now we're not worried about, kids getting home from school in terms of snow. Same with you coming home from work later this afternoon or evening. Not overly concerned in terms of snow, but the dangerous cold is going to be a concern. So kids heading out the door this morning, make sure they're bundled up. If you don't have kids and you're just headed to work, make sure you're bundled up, because it is going to be very cold today, and it's going to be even colder by this evening. By 5, a couple of flurries maybe. It's going to be after about 10 o'clock or so that snow begins working in from west to east. And it'll pick up in intensity pretty quickly. And by 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're stopping there simply because that's when we're going to start to reach some of the peak intensities on this. It's going to start to really come down. We're talking some heavy snow, and with gusty northeast winds blowing snow, not out of the question, and that could easily lead to reduced visibilities. There's also something else that, again, I haven't seen in a while, but it does happen. And it happened in northeast Oklahoma, like I said, about 3 years ago or so, something called a snow squall warning. What that is it is a band of intense, heavy snow. It seemingly comes out of nowhere. Like you're just going, the snow's coming, all of a sudden you get into this squall of very heavy snow, gusty winds, leading to visibilities dropping to, or if not, at 0. So if you are traveling this weekend, which we strongly encourage you not to do, and your area or the area you're headed to has a snow squall warning, you need to delay that travel as long as possible, because those can be extraordinarily dangerous. You will have visibilities drop like that out of a snow squall. So it's not something that we can say for sure is going to happen, but it's a possibility with some heavy snow. Throughout the morning hours on Saturday, Snow continues, some of it heavy at times, and like I said, snow squalls aside, heavy snow with the gusty winds is going to lead to those potential for reduced visibilities. Now, by noon, you can see we're starting to see some little breakups in the snow. Still some moderate, even heavy snow in places, but it starts to break up a bit. And by about 4 or 5 o'clock, we're now getting into a period of more light to moderate snow, and not all over the place. But remember what we've talked about. This snow is coming in 2 waves. And you cannot let this pause trick you into thinking it's over, because it's not. As we go later in the evening Saturday, about 7, 8 o'clock, so we're talking maybe an hour or two, depending on where you are, in terms of a gap between the first and second wave. By the time the second wave gets here, by 8, it moves in very quickly, and we go right back to heavy snow, blowing snow out there, which could lead to reduced visibilities. And at this time, it does appear between the 2 waves, about a third of our storm total snowfalls will fall within the first wave, and it looks like the other 2/3 should come in with the second wave late Saturday into Sunday morning. So that's the other thing. If you've got church this weekend, I'd be willing to bet churches are probably not going to have services. So make sure you're paying attention. Make sure you're staying in touch with your church or wherever it may be that you're going Sunday, because odds are it's not going to happen. And you don't want to try and put yourself out there because you didn't see that it was canceled. So make sure you've got a way to get that. We'll have them on our website. Of course, we'll have them on air as well, but we'll have those cancellations. We'll have closings that are sent to us. But make sure you check ahead of time before you head out. And like I said, this weekend, we really cannot stress enough the importance of, if you do not have to be out after tonight, don't. It's not going to be safe to drive in. Now, Sunday, we start to transition as the snow begins to wind down. We'll have flurries, some light snow, maybe one more round of moderate snow for some of you, and then by Sunday evening, this system begins to exit on out of here. But I really can't stress enough, and I've said it now this 3 times, don't travel this weekend. The other thing is don't travel Monday. And the reason for that is the amount of snow we're going to get. 6 inches of snow is enough to cause significant travel disruptions in this area, because it's not something we typically deal with. But this level of snow, which, by the way, again, these totals updated this morning. They went up for some and down for others, but they're lining up with some of the latest guidance this morning. So is it a guarantee that we're going to get more than a foot of snow? It's not a guarantee in these locations, but I'd say it's a strong possibility you're going to get upwards of at least maybe 11 inches in some cases, and that's a lot in this area. Like I say, that is a lot. Our road crews do a great job, but you have to remember our resources here compared to resources in Iowa or Minnesota are a lot different, because we don't deal with that much snow. And it's not common for us to get a big snowstorm like this. 3 or 4 inches at a time is one thing, but this much is going to be a problem for road crews. And that's why between this and the extreme cold, it's not going to melt on its own. So road crews are going to have to clear it. The longer it sits, it's expected to become much more compact, which will make it even harder to clear. That's why I'm saying I think by Monday, kids, I wouldn't plan on school. Parents, make sure you're prepared for that now, right now, because I'd be willing to bet that there will not be classes for nearly everybody come Monday morning. Beyond that, it's going to depend on how much snow you get, rural areas versus urban areas, and how quickly street crews can get out there. But be prepared for an extended point of no classes next week. We have, again, winter storm warnings, so at least Sunday afternoon for the entire area. And the other thing I wanted to touch on is the cold weather advisories and extreme cold warnings. We've got wind chills through this weekend, 10 to 20 degrees below zero. It's not just dangerous cold, it's potentially life-threatening cold. We'll have another look at your forecast, break down the rest of the week in terms of temperatures and what we're looking at next week when we come back. All right, so for today, again, not expecting the snow until late tonight. So you've got one more day, albeit a cold and windy day, to get some stuff done. We're going to be holding out in the low 20s this morning, cloudy skies, breezy. Our highs, technical highs, about 30 or so, but daytime temperatures, low to mid-20s, falling through the day. Northeast winds gusting to 35. That's going to keep our wind chills about, say, 0 to 5 above. Cloudy through the evening, light snow begins working in after 10 o'clock from west to east, eventually becoming heavy snow. Blowing snow a concern out there. We're down to 6 tonight. This is when our wind chills start to really get bad. About 10 to 15 below zero overnight tonight. Northeast winds still gusting to 30. Alert days through Sunday. Still watching Monday for the potential for extreme cold as well. We'll have the snow anywhere from, at this point, 7 to 14 inches across our area. We're only going to be in the teens, single digits Saturday night, below zero Sunday night into Monday, which is again why we're watching Monday for the bitterly cold temperatures. Wind chills this weekend, 10 to 20 degrees below zero. So we're talking not just dangerous cold, but potentially life-threatening cold as we go through the weekend. We don't warm very well, so this isn't going to melt on its own. So you got to let road crews do their job. So again, I'd be willing to guarantee there's going to be no school in our areas on Monday. Beyond that, it's just going to depend on how much snow you get and how quickly those road crews work. Another cold blast next week and more flurry chances. Let's check your forecast. Another hour of the KOAM Morning News up next.